Hello and welcome to the studio where we paint away the stress of everyday life here in Wales. Now I'm going to be doing something really nice today. I'm going to be painting a sailboat. I'm going to show you quickly how that was drawn, and then I'm going to take you through the process of painting. So this is quite a nice relaxing type of painting. But before I do that, let's have a look at the palette. As you can see, I'm going to be using a palette knife at some point in this painting today, and I've got a small selection of brushes there pre-soaking ready. They've just been put in there. I'm going to be using Liquitex Basics. I've been somebody have been kind enough to actually send me a full set of Liquitex for a review, so I'm going to be using those paints today. I've gone to the liberty of making some purple up from some blue and some red. So all I'm using today is some red, some yellow, some blue, and I've mixed some red and yellow, as I said, to make some purple. I got a little bit of burnt umber, some black and white. I'm also going to be using some of my homemade, handmade in the studio, gel medium, and I've got some slow dry gel. They're going to be available on the website shortly, and they're in tubes, 60ml. I've got some of my medium mix, additive there, which I use instead of water. Again, that can be purchased on the website. So with all that said, let's just get on to the painting. So it's taking me to the canvas. I'm actually using a 16 by 20 canvas today, and this was bought in a cheap shop actually. It was only £1.99, I think. So it just goes to show that you don't need to spend a lot of money on stuff, especially when you're practicing. And to start the actual drawing of the ship, I did a figure of 8, so I went round like that, a big fat belly, and then back down to a small top like that. And then all I did then was just fill the lines in like that, and found that shape of a sailboat. So it's quite easy. All you need to do is practice, and then I just went ahead and put some sailors in and things like that. So he's positioned there, so let's slap some paint on this canvas. So I'm going to leave the palette knife until last, because I haven't quite decided exactly what I'm going to be doing with that today. I'm just taking my brushes out of the water and just tapping them dry, and that's going to help my brushes smoothly work their way across the canvas. Now I'm also going to get a little bit of pure water. I'm just going to spray the front of the canvas like that. Now, some of you said my paint's drying too fast. I've already done the back of this, and there are some tips there in the iCards for you to have a follow along with, and show you how to slow down the drying time of acrylics. So I'm just wetting the surface of my canvas like that, and that's something that I do most of the time. There you go. So I want to mix some orange, so let's get some yellow. This is quite a nice smooth paint. I usually use Galleria paints, but as I said, Liquitex. I had some of these Liquitex paints sent to me, so I thought, well, let's give it a try, because I never really get the opportunity to use Liquitex very often, and I just wanted to see how they dry, how they manipulate on the canvas, how they mix together. Do they need a lot of water, etc., etc., etc. But if you haven't got Liquitex paints, any paints will do. You can use any paints you want, really. In fact, yes, you can. So I'm just going to put some yellow on. Now you might be thinking, why the background, Clive? Why is it pink? Well, I don't know if you can see that. Let me just secure my easel. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually purple. I mixed some purple that I made on the palette up, along with some burnt umber, believe it or not, only a small amount, and I just put that on the canvas just to basically kill the white of the canvas. And I thought that a little bit of purple coming through might actually help the sky as well. So I'm just gonna add this yellow in like this orange, bring in some colour down like that. Just be loose and bold and free. The other thing I get asked a lot is, Clive, I'm struggling with skies, I'm struggling with the paint, and I'd like to say that we can't all run a minute mile in a 4-minute mile. We can't all do it. And those that do a 4-minute mile have taken years of practice to do that. And even these gold medalists and athletes and stuff like that, it takes some years and years of dedication and practice. So it's no different with paint. Absolutely no different with paint at all. The other question I get is, Clive, you make it look easy, and I'm not aware of that, but because I've been doing it for nearly 40 years now, I'm just going to go a little bit over the Sailboat. You get what you call muscle memory, so I can talk and paint, and although sometimes it's not easy because I do get lost in the painting and I do make mistakes. I'm a human being at the end of the day, and nothing is ever perfect. It takes a lot of practice, so don't worry about it, really. My advice is just to enjoy the process, and there's a lot of people out there that use it for healing. They spend time to paint just to paint, and my suggestion to you is just paint. Just paint for the sake of painting. Don't worry about all the technical parts of it, because there's absolutely no need at all, and that'll all come with experience and time. As you progress through your art journey, these things are just going to get easier and easier. The more you paint, the easier it's going to be. So I just made the orange just a little bit darker. I'm just going to bring a little bit more warmth, a little bit darker than that. I'm not used to these colours, so I'm just playing with the strengths of reds. With the paints I normally use, I don't need to put a lot of red in. This is quite a thin, watery paint. It's not as heavy bodied as I would like, but nevertheless, it's turning out to be quite a nice experience on the canvas. So you need to practice, and don't, please, I've said this so many times in the past, don't try to paint paintings in the same time scale as you see that others do, including myself. I had a comment the other day saying, Clive, some of your paintings are absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. And some of them are absolutely terrible. Thank you very much. Because I'm glad that has come across. And some of them are quite childlike. Well, that's even better, because if you paint as a child, you paint from the heart and you enjoy the process. That shows that you're having fun and you're just absolutely enjoying it. The reason that some of my paintings are a little, let's just say, childlike, is because I try to teach, not the way that I paint. I try to teach in the way I think that your levels are. So some paintings are designed specifically for people at a certain skill level. That doesn't mean that you can't try it. What I'm saying is, it's just to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm just going to secure my board 1 second. Okay, all done. It's just to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, so you can see that, you know, sometimes I make mistakes. I'm a human being at the end of the day, so these things just happen sometimes, and there's nothing we can much to do about that. A little bit of moisture. You notice I haven't used a lot of moisture with this paint. And other lessons, then I try to make a little bit more complicated, and I just enjoy painting. Really, I really do enjoy painting, and I do a lot of painting just for the sake of painting, really. You can see I'm just going to do some crisscross shapes just to get some brush patterns in, like this, and just put a little bit of darkness into the sky. It looks a bit like it could be a sunset, or it could be, I tell you what, it would be nice. Let's see if this will work. Let's mix a little bit of red and let's get a little bit of burnt umber to it. A nice crimson type of red. and I'm just going to drag the brush in like this. I've gone lately to enjoy seeing texture on the canvas and seeing the canvas come through and seeing brush marks not being smooth and things like this, and that's just the way I like to paint at the moment. But it's a way of loosening up. I've been doing a lot of practice sessions and things, when tiny little bits of cardboard and stuff, and just doing like 5 or 10 minute paintings, and on very, very small, very little detail, nothing much. I might do a couple of lessons actually on that, and it's designed. I tell you what we come about. My friend Jason Bowen, we talk quite often, as you know, and he's a really good friend of mine, and we get together a lot of the times now, and over the weeks, and I mean to put a bit of more yellow there. You notice I'm still using this 1-inch short flat at the moment. I just want to get a little bit of movement into this water area there, that lad. I'm going to bring a bit of blue into this now in a minute. I'm talking too much and I'm not concentrating enough. So I'm just going to rinse my brush out. So we get a talking sometimes, and we started doing these little samples. I've showed you in a couple of other videos what I mean. And I've just progressed it from that. And in fact, I'm going to mix a bit of white to the yellow, just to make it a little bit more opaque, because I find this yellow is a little bit more transparent than I would like. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit of yellow round there like that. Being loose. You don't need to paint to be able to do this. All you need to do is just slap some paint on and have fun, and just let it do what it wants to do. Quite effective, really, if you think about it, because we're not all master artists. We're not all Van Goghs and Cézannes and Sargents and Monets and Picassos, and we're Clive Powells and Jason Bowens, and you know, we're all at different skill levels, and I think that it's important that I'm just going to put a couple of little maybe sailboats in distance there. I think it's important that we just do what makes us feel happy. That's what painting's about. It's not about being stressed or nothing like that. It's about just relaxing and having fun. And you've heard me say painting away that stress of everyday life, which is really important, because what that does is it releases the stress. Is a funny thing. Did you know that stress is accumulative? It doesn't go away. It can only go up. Stress and anxiety can only go up. There's the adrenaline gland creates adrenaline, and then the hormone that surrounds that, the part of that the part of that gland, the adrenaline gland, the part that surrounds that gives off a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol is a very dangerous thing, because you can have higher levels of cortisol, or you can have lower levels of cortisol. But unfortunately, it's fight or flight, as they call it. And you know, it depends. Adrenaline pumps through the body. When we were back in the day, when we were running around the plains and avoiding tigers and dinosaurs and things like that, it would pump you into your muscles, and your blood pressure would go up, and you get panicky, and you just want to escape that tiger that's chasing you, basically. So, and cortisol is a thing then that pumps around the body as well, and it's not a good thing to have too much of that or too little. You've got to have a healthy balance. Go and get your cortisol levels checked by your physician. That's what I would say. I'm going to have mine done, because I've been suffering a lot with anxiety, and I tend to, when I say I'm painting away the stress of everyday life in the studio, that's exactly what I do, because I've been suffering a lot with anxiety and stress since my loss of my mother, which was about 18 months ago. But it's all about mindfulness and relaxing and getting your energy levels and being in a happy place and a happy environment. And what's more happy than sitting here with some paint and just making marks on a canvas and not worrying about what those marks look like? It's just getting those marks, and that's all I'm doing at the moment with the background. Yes, I'll spend a little bit more time and focus and energy into the boat or the ship or whatever you want to call it, but at this present moment in time I'm just concentrating on making some little marks that just seem to balance things nicely like that. And balance is the thing. Balance of emotion, balance of what you're feeling. And you know, I had a stroke. There's several people that watch me, quite a few people actually have watched me over the years, and have said that, you know, I've had a stroke or a heart attack, and your painting has helped me, and it certainly does help. Just getting a little bit of white. I'm just gonna put a little bit of light like that, like as if there's maybe a boat or something in the background, and who knows, a little bit of red. Get more of this yellow one. Looks a bit wishy-washy there, but I'll change that in a second. So let's bring in a bit of, yeah, so paint away that stress of everyday life with myself in Wales, and you'll feel much better. So don't worry about what you're doing, don't worry about what you're painting, just make marks. And you find things, you'll find shapes, and you think, wow, that looks like a building, that looks like a clump of trees, that looks like, let your imagination run with you. That's what I would say. So I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to pick up a little short flat. In fact, I'm going to pick up a slightly longer and thicker short flat. That's a long handled short flat. I decided I'm just going to moisten that a little bit with water. You might be thinking, oh Clive, what are you talking about? But these things, if it works, it works. That's all I can say. If it works, it works. This is a lovely, lovely blue. I like this blue colour. Just added a bit of white to that. I'm going to add some of my gel medium. What a gel medium does, it extends the paint, but it also puts a lot of the acrylic back into it, so we can thin it down a little bit more then with a bit of water. And I just wanted to see if that would work with our paint, which I'm confident it will, because I don't use anything different than manufacturers use in their paints. So right, I'm just going to put some flecks of blue, and that's going to interact with that orange, desaturate. It's going to interact with that yellow, and it's going to go green. But I don't mind that. Let's get a bit more blue, and just put dabs of paint on, very similar to what we did the other week when we done that Van Gogh style type of painting. Just put dabs of paint in like this. Very, very easy. This is not about painting as such, it's more about feeling what you're painting. We'll put some shadow under this sailboat later on, but we need to paint that in a second. I'm just going to get a little bit of base colour in. I'm going to have dirty paint there, so I'm just going to mix a bit of that blue with that purple. It's not going to hurt it, because red and blue mixed purple, it's just going to change it. It's going to make it a bit more blue, in fact. So we've got let's put a bit of purple there like this, and bring a bit of purple across like that, and let's check a bit of white. Let's see what happens if we put a bit of white. You can see it looks more of a pink. It must be. I've mixed a lot of red with it, so it can border. It can be bordering on the pink, pinky purple, purpley pink, pinky purple. Just spread it on like that. Don't worry, don't think about it, just do it. Don't worry about it, just do it. Yellow and purple go really well together. Complements. Blues and oranges go really well. You can see the type of colours that I'm using there. Greens and reds again. You might have a little bit of green in that water, so it's all going to work. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of yellow, and I'm just going to flick in a bit of yellow like this. Maybe to represent a few little waves or something. And don't worry about flattening them out. Leave the paint a little bit thick. That's a lovely thing to be able to do as well. And just bring that colour together a little bit like this. Don't go overboard with the colour, but just think, I'll put it there. Does that look enough? Yes, maybe that does look enough. Let's mix it. Let's get a bit of white. And just use a paint that's on the brush. Look, it's going to go a funny colour. Don't know what colour that is. You couldn't mix that colour if you tried, could you? But what a lovely colour that is. That's quite a it would make it quite a nice skin tone, actually. It's maybe a little bit light, but it could work. Just put a little bit of reflection in this water like that. Now what we could do, we could quite easily dry that off with a hairdryer, but I'm not going to do that in this instance. I'm just going to pick up a nice detail brush and I'm going to block out the sailboat and some sails, and I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do that yet. So let's just wing it. You've got to have a little bit of thought sometimes, but you know, let's just go with it. This is detail. This is slightly different. So I'm just going to make sure I don't get my big head in the way. And I'm going to try and get close enough to the canvas. There we go. And I mix a bit of black. So let's put a little bit of red and black together. There we go. Let's make a red black. A nice dark colour. And let's paint out this boat. And just make lovely, clean, crisp lines in the confusion of irregularity throughout the painting. We're having some nice clean, crisp lines now, and that's going to bring a bit of order to the chaos. We have a little bit of order sometimes in our lives. We've got to accept things that just can't be done. You know, some things happen and we've got no control over at all. So, you know, it's important sometimes that we just say, well, you know, we've just got to accept that. There's not much we can do about it. And I had a conversation with my grandson the other day, and he said, Bampy, if only I said, before you say anything more now, if only I'd. How many people said, if only I'd known what I know now then? If only I could have seen that happening. If only I could have. There's no such thing as if only. Because whatever decision you make at that particular moment in time has got to be the right choice. If you've made an informed decision and you've thought about it and you've thought it's not a rash decision, and even some rash decisions are the best decisions you can make. Sometimes overthinking things can be harmful. So what do? We just do the right thing at the right time. We try to do our best, don't we? We try to do our best for our children. We try to do our best for our loved ones. We try to do our best for ourselves. And at the end of the day, that's the right thing to do at the time. Hindsight, or thinking about something that you've done in the past and thinking, if I'd done this, it might have been different, is a wonderful thing, because we're not time travellers. And we can't go back in time and change things. So that's just how it works sometimes. There's not much we can do about it. So don't ever beat yourself up over the decisions you've made in the past when you're thinking about them in the future, because it's inevitable that, you know, we could all do things differently. Certainly we could. There's no point regretting something. It's just going to grow inside you and make you feel ill. And we want to be happy souls. That's all we want in life, is to be happy. Okay. I'm not preaching, I promise. So, I'm going to do this sail like this. A bit of shadow. Now, if you're finding your paint doesn't run smooth, add a little bit of water to it like that. Now, if you're afraid of the underbinding issues, if you've got a little bit of this glazing medium, or any glazing medium really, just add a little bit of glazing medium into your paint like that, just to replace some of that acrylic bonds that you've thinned out, And all that is pure resin. It's just a thick resin basically, and that's going to help keep the bonds of paint together, because paint is just basically pigment held in a suspension, which is then held in with a binder. In this case, it's a polymer resin. In a case of watercolors and things like that, then it's things like honey and gum arabic and stuff like that. So there you go. Oil is like linseed oil and things like this. There's a mast there, there's dark line there and there like that. It's just thinking. I'm just thinking about this ship now, and thinking about this ship. And we can put some detail in later on. So I just need to define some of these edges, and I'll just put a bit of shadow in there like that. You paint this ship and these sails any way that makes you feel comfortable. That's my suggestion. Just let the colours and the experience and the joy of the actual painting itself just flow. I know it sounds a little bit over the top, but it's true. You really do need sometimes just to let things just flow and happen. And we should never beat ourselves up over things. Okay, so I've just picked up a 1/2 inch short flat, and I'm going to pick up some yellow. I'm going to put some yellow in there like that. And I'm just going to put that brush one side a second. I'm picking up my detail brush again. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this light blue just to play off against that orange in the sky there like that. And then I'm going to pick up a bit of this dark purple, a little bit of that brown and black and red we made. I'm just going to add a little bit of a shadow. Rinsing my brush. There's no paint on my brush, it's just a damp brush. Just a damp brush, and I'm just going to blend that down like that. So that yellow and that purple will mix. It'll automatically desaturate that yellow because it's a complement. So play around with colour mixes as well. See what happens. See what works. I'm going to pick up a little bit more purple on my brush. I want a bit of that canvas colour to come through. I want to show the texture of this particular canvas. I'm just mixing these colours together. Getting a bit of blue. I'm just going to make that canvas look like canvas. It's a canvas sail, so let's use the canvas texture of the canvas itself. Confusing myself. Let's use the canvas texture of the canvas itself to make that look like a sail. That's cool. So using the elements. And as I'm painting, I'm trying to talk, and I'm thinking about what my next step is, and I'm also thinking about what am I going to have for tea tonight, and the mind wanders sometimes, and that's all good and everything, but sometimes we need to concentrate. And I'm actually thinking it'd be nice to have some beans and chips tonight. It would be nice. Let's cool that area off a little bit with some blue there like this. Let's get some blue and some purple. Let's make a nice blue purple colour. Don't be afraid to play around with colour. You notice that's a nice dry brush that I had then. And sometimes you don't need a lot of paint to make an effect. You really don't. You're just looking for that texture coming off, and it's quite a dry brush. So I'm going to put that one down. I'm going to pick up a bit more yellow. I'm going to bring a bit of white to it. So cortisol levels, let's go back to saying what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about cortisol and adrenaline and stuff like this, and it's important that sometimes that you don't need to meditate. You don't need to sit there going, hum. You don't need to do that. You just need to sit nice, calm and relaxed in order to chill out and to drop that blood pressure and to stop being so anxious and things. And people have had panic attacks and stuff like that, and they know what I'm talking about. I had a few panic attacks last year, as I said, when my mother passed away, and I never experienced anything like that in my life. It frightened the living daylights out of me. And even to today now, I concentrate on what I'm doing and really think things through, because it's important that you do that. Life has got a funny way of throwing things at you, and if I didn't have any bad luck, I wouldn't have any good luck. I wouldn't have any luck at all, you know. But that's just how things are sometimes. You know, we've just got to be happy that we wake up in the morning and we're with our loved ones, and you know, even if we live on our own, if you're unfortunate to live on our own, or even fortunate if you know, these days quite nice to have a bit of space on your own sometimes. And you look forward to your family phone calls, and you look forward to that. And if you know anybody that's living on their own, give them a call. Give them a call, ask them how they are. There's a lot of lonely people out there, and the world's too short. Life's too short to worry and stress, and just give them a call and say, how are you doing? I just wanted to know how we were today. And why not? Does it cost a lot? No. Sometimes a little phone call can go a long way, can't it? So going back to the cortisol incident, all I want to say to you is, I did a bit of white now. All I want to say to you is, you know, don't go, if you're not into meditating and stuff like that, then that's fine. But you know, be aware of your breathing. This is what I suggest. Be aware of that breathing. Breathe in, and you breathe out, and you stop. Did you know that? Just be conscious. Think about it now. Just as you're watching me paint, just be aware of how you're actually breathing. Be aware of how your body actually breathes. You go in, you're out, and you just pause for a second, a millisecond, pause. Use that pause to think. Just breathing in, and breathing out, and being a complete aware of your surroundings. What are you feeling at that particular moment? What can you hear around you? What's going on downstairs or in the next room? And just be aware of your surroundings and think, yeah, it's good to be alive. Okay, now let's get a bit of orange. And let's put this sail in. Let's make that a little bit darker. I quite like this this paint. It's quite a nice paint actually. It's like it runs quite smooth. It runs quite smooth, it really does. Let's get a bit of white. Let's use a bit of this funky white that we made up earlier. I'll just find that shape like that. Wow, Clive, we've talked some stuff today. And that's what it's about sometimes. Before I started this video, I was in the house, and my studio is in the garden. And this morning I come into the studio and I heard this noise. I thought, what is that? Because we've had a lot of snow. I thought it might have been the snow rolling off the roof of the studio. But it wasn't. And hang on, I got to think what I'm doing. There's a bit of this purpley blue. And I thought, that's funny. That's a funny noise. A little rumble like that. So I'd gone in to go to the toilet and see if my Molly and everything was alright, and see how my wife was, because she was getting ready for work. And I looked out to my son's bedroom at the studio roof, and I seen that the felt on the roof had ripped in the winds that we've had recently, and it was just about ready to fly off the top of the roof. I'm thinking, no, what am I going to do? But I didn't panic. I didn't panic. Because there's no point panicking. If the wind is going to rip that felt off the roof, that's what's going to happen. And there's not much I could do about it when I was upstairs except panic, run down the stairs and screaming like a banshee, only to trip over the cat, fall over and break a leg. Which I didn't do because I didn't panic. And I thought, well, I just hope when I get down there that I can salvage the situation. And I just managed to find some felt nails and some tar that I happened to have in the studio because I'd been fixing the roof on the kitchen, a flat roof, last week. So I just happened to have that, which was luck. Was that luck? I think that was luck. That was more luck than that bad luck. That was more good luck than bad luck. That certainly was. So there's a bit of white. So just thinking about these little lines and just being real loose and relaxed with it. There we go. Just being loose and relaxed and just allowing the paint to happen. And up I went onto the roof and tapped in a few nails and put a bit of glue on, and I thought, okay, there we go. There's much I can do now until the weather changes and it warms up. It'll last. Hopefully it'll last. I'll just keep an eye on it, and I'll go in and I'll settle down and I'll make a nice video today because that's what I want to do, and that's what I did. That's what I'm doing. And it's important that we just enjoy what we do, and I certainly enjoy what I do. I certainly do. This sail is going up there behind that sail, so let's get a bit of darker blue. Let's cool that off because I want to cool off an area there because I got such a lot of warmth in this painting. I just want to cool off an area. I want to bring that darker in front of that one because I want to make it look as if it's in front of that one. And I'm just going to continue that line down like this. Nice and relaxed. There we go. Get a bit of white. And let's just bring some white in. Like that. Just take 5 minutes and have a breather. Do you know what's the worst thing you can do actually is watching long videos of anything really, or sitting through seminars and stuff. And I used to do seminars years ago. I used to do seminars years ago when I was in sales. I used to teach and how to sell stuff and stuff. And what I found was that the attention span of the human being is about 15 to 20 minutes maximum. It really is. So when there's somebody waffling on like me and it's coming up to 20 minutes, you're thinking, oh, I wish he'd shut up. And your mind would start to wander and you'd daydream and you'd think, what am I having for tea tonight? Really like some beans and chips or something. I might even have a sausage with my beans and chips. And you're not listening to the teacher. You're not listening to what they're saying. You're really not. And then you get a test at the end of it, don't you? You get a test at the end of it. And you're thinking, oh, wish I wasn't thinking about chips. Wish I wasn't thinking about chips. Playing with purples and blues and just get those. It's like picking up some oil pastels, isn't it? Just chucking them on there. Make the colour up. Make the colour up. Leave a bit of that background come through. That's cool. That's cool. I'm not even worried about washing my brush. I'm just mixing colours on the palette now. I don't mind. Lovely colours. Colours are soothing. Some colours are more soothing and relaxing than others. Play around with the colours and decide what you would like. See, I'm still playing with this. I'm just using a small brush. I could use a bigger brush, I suppose, but I just want to relax into the painting. I'm in no particular rush to get this painting finished. I'm in no rush at all, and I just want to enjoy the stress-free feeling, that I'm thinking of at this particular moment in time. I want to say thank you to all those fantastic people that give me a thumbs up for these videos. And we work so hard as YouTubers to create these videos for you, which doesn't cost anything really to yourselves. But I also want to thank all those people that give me a thumbs down within seconds of me putting a video out. So they haven't even looked at the video and they give you a thumbs down. How nasty is that? Well, all I can say to those people is thank you very much for taking the time to even look at the thumbnail. So whether it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, it matters not to me, because I just enjoy the fact that you're actually there and you're taking notice of what I'm doing. You might not like the thumbnail. You might like the thumbnail. You might like the video. You might not like the video. It's not for everybody. And that's the thing. If everybody was happy with everything you did, life would be so boring, wouldn't it? And it wouldn't encourage you to create more paintings. You're thinking, right, I'm going to go out on a mission today, and I'm going to get 40,000 views or 100 thumbs up, and I am really going to push the boat out today. And I'm going to make this fantastic video that everybody wants to watch. And inevitably it doesn't happen that way, does it? Because life's not like that. Life's not like that. You could be sitting there one day and just making a video just for the sake of it, or even just a painting for the sake of it, and somebody could come to the house and say, I'll buy that off you. And you think, really? Do you want to buy this one? It's better. No, I like that one. It's got something in it. It's got energy. It's got something about that painting that I like. You know, a sail is this colour? No. Is it a relaxing, warm colour that gives you a warm glow in your heart? I think so. I think so. There we go. If I think so, I'm happy. All I do is paint for myself, and all I want to try and do is bring you on a little journey with myself as I'm thinking about my breathing, and I'm thinking about my cortisol levels, and I'm thinking about the stress that I've had today. Because we all get stressed. If we didn't have stress, we wouldn't wake up in the morning. Stress is what feeds you. Stress is what makes you... you're talking about stress, actually. Melatonin, I think it's melatonin, is the hormone that makes you sleep. So it helps you, enhances your sleep. Because we go in waves. We wake up in the morning, our cortisol levels rise. They fire us. They come on, let's go to work. Let's get out there. Let's see what the world has got to deal us today. And cortisol levels do that. Melatonin levels trying to slow you down at a certain time at night, and you're having trouble sleeping. That's because maybe you're having trouble sleeping is because your cortisol levels are so high. That's my understanding of it. So all you've got to do is just be a little bit more mindful. Take a breath, take a deep breath. In the day, just relax. Think about your breathing. Just have a power nap. 40 winks, as my mother used to say. It used to be 40 winks when I was a child. Just go to sleep now. Think of nothing, do nothing, and just... Oh. Now it's called power napping. Hey, whatever works. Have a power nap. There you go. Okay, that's enough block out, I think. I think that's enough of a block out there. I'm just going to pick up my little detail brush again. I'm going to get some blue. And blue and white. Blue and white. And let's just get a little bit of... Let's get a little bit of colour there. And maybe a bit of colour there like that. And just bring a bit of this blue up there like that, maybe, I don't know. A bit of blue there. Let's get a bit of dark blue. And put a bit of colour in there. Let's get some red. We haven't got enough red. We need to put some red here and there, like that. Just break that up a bit like that. Okay, let's make a bit of orange, is it? Let's make a bit of orange. I'm just going to go quiet for a bit, I think. I'm just going to let the inspiration of this paint just... I don't even clean my brush. It's going to go muddy. Do I care? No, not really. I don't care. That's what it's all about sometimes. Just allow yourself to have a little bit of... There we go, that looks nice. Let's get a little bit of this dark colour. Let's just clean my brush first. That doesn't matter. Let's put some dark lines in there like that. I'll rinse that brush a little bit. I'm going to go back into this yellow. My stomach is starting to rumble because I've been thinking about chips. I'm getting quite hungry now. So I'm actually going to have a look at the clock. I'm going to see what time is it. We're into 47 minutes. Wow, this is going to be a long video. Not so much about the video, it's about the editing time. Oops, my hand slipped. Doesn't matter. Let's get some more white into there. But a few of you are asking me for longer videos, and I will try and do a few longer videos where I can, I think. Just adding a bit of colour. This looks more peachy than anything, doesn't it? I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix some orange over there. On a bright orange. Sometimes pigments or paints and stuff, if you're using different brands, you'll find that some reds are different to other reds. It could say a cadmium red, but you'll find that the actual colour itself, the shade itself, is different. A lot of paints call hues and things. And you say, what's a hue? Well, a hue is just a name of a colour. Basically, some paints are made chemically these days, and they use more than one pigment. So like a purple, and if you imagine it as a purple, so you've got a blue and a red, haven't you? There you go. I've got a blue and a red there, and some reds have different reds added to get that particular red that they're looking for. And so it's not just one pigment, they use a couple of different red pigments to get that red they want. And okay, let's get another. How's that looking? I'm looking at my monitor, and I need to leave that now. I'm playing too much. I need to rinse out my brush. I'm gonna do something drastic now. I'm gonna get a palette knife. Woohoo! Yes, let's get a palette knife together, and let's get some paint. I'm gonna mix some of my gel with it. This is a slow drying gel that I made. You can buy some thickening agent as well, which I got, but I'm just gonna see how my products work with these products and see if they work well. It's interesting to do that sometimes because we've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm just going to splotch on some colour like that. That looks nice, doesn't it? I quite like that. We just get some kitchen room. Okay, let's mix some white and some blue together. Let's get some of my gel, slow dry gel. Actually slows down the drying time of the acrylic paint. And the stuff I use is what you manufacturers use. It's not things like cornstarch and stuff like that, which you can use, I suppose. This is very archival paint that I use. It's taken me decades actually it's about 20 years of making my own paints and stuff and my own projects, and over the years I've just decided to share some of those recipes with yourselves, and I think as an artist it's good to keep inventing yourself and trying things and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and you know, not being afraid of using palette knives and thick paint and thin paint together and stuff and colours that you wouldn't normally associate working together, but they work. A little bit of texture in the foreground is hopefully making it look distant. That's the plan. That's Clive's plan. There you go, just put a few little water ripples. A little bit of paint there. Just picking up the paint on the side like that. So there's a little ridge of paint. On the side of the palette knife. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just touching the canvas lightly to get these lines, the paint just to fall off. Just to give that sparkle, that there might be a little bit of glint of light just touching that water. Where's all this colour come from? I don't know. It's exciting. How exciting is it? How exciting is that? Let's get a little bit of sparkle there. There you go. Don't like that. Where's my detail brush? I'm just gonna lighten that out a bit. We'll put a bit of blue, I think. There, now darken that. Just darken that in there. Let's give it a bit more of a shadow. And let's get a bit of this dark browny grey colour that we made. I don't know what colour that is, doesn't really matter. Let's darken our board up a touch. Let's get a bit of light coming through. Oh, this is nice. Painting away the stress of everyday life in Wales. Let's get a bit of purple in there like that. All these colours up, and I don't know. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. We can destroy some things sometimes by working too hard. I'm going to get my strip lining brush. That's one of them long, thinny ones. And you can see the way that's actually bent. Can you see that? That's bent. You know why that's bent like that? Because I've left it in a jar of water, and I keep telling people don't do that because it bends. And that's what happens with the brush, because the weight of the handle will actually bend your brush, and you've got a heck of a job to get that straight. So don't do it. blue and black and red. nice thin colour. And let's just put some lines in like that. Dee, 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 dee. Da, da, da. This is the nice bit. This is when you can take a deep breath and I need to practice. I need to concentrate. I need to think. Maybe a flat or something on the top. Just like that. There we go. We need to sit and think. We could put a couple of little lines like that. I don't know what they are. They could be anything, couldn't they? You could put a little... No, I'm not going to. I was going to put a bird then, but I'm not going to because it'll spoil it. Let's just strengthen that. Bit of white, I think. A little bit of white. A little bit of white. Just Let's paint away the stress of everyday life, and we're coming up to about an hour now, and I'm quite happy with the way this has come. And I could spend another hour on this, in fact, because I'm really enjoying myself today. But I hope you've enjoyed your time with me today. And please paint away the stress of everyday life. Join me every Monday at 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time for a free lesson like this. And I hope you've learned something today besides from just painting. So if you have, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It doesn't matter. I'm happy and I'm stress free as I paint away the stress of everyday life here in Wales. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Nice.